We have this mindset that we are limited when we think about the space in which we live. We limit ourselves because we only see the house and the driveway or the sidewalk, and we don't really explore the options that are just waiting for us to share. And when I say share, I mean elevate our experience, not just with ourselves and those we're living with, but our neighbors. And one of those opportunities waits us out in the alley. The Food in the Alley initiative is a project that I've been pondering for quite some time, ever since I ran out of space on my property in South Scottsdale. As I was getting more and more into growing my own food and understanding orientation, what can grow best in the east versus the west side of the property, I realized that I had pretty much planted out every inch of space that I had. So I went wandering, and I found myself in my own alley. And there I realized that I had an entire 50 more lineal feet of space available to experiment with growing food in the alley. And that's when the light bulb went off. And I think a good way of looking at it is we talk a lot and teach a lot about the repurposing of building materials and taking older buildings and repurposing them to be more energy efficient. So I began to look at the alley space and how could I repurpose what it has traditionally been used for and elevate it to something that has more productivity to it, has more beauty to it. We think of our alleys as a place we don't ever want to go because there's lack of color, lack of life, vacant, dangerous, scary. And when I began to explore that opportunity more and more, I realized that there is a different feeling when I'm out in the alley. There's a peacefulness and less activity because the alleyway is not used as a roadway. So I began to see that as a pathway, a destination where one could take an alley walk to another destination, perhaps the grocery store or over to the park. And it has a different quality to it that I wanted to explore some more. And I think the idea of feeling like we lack things, we always want something other than what we have, has been identified to me in interesting ways when I spend time out in the alley. The concept for me of Food in the Alley is also about anyone can come to my garden and help themselves to the produce that's growing there. I invite that, I welcome it, I encourage it. But one thing I have noticed over time is that people are very hesitant to do that. And I think it just comes from a culture of that if I'm doing something like that, I'm stealing, or it doesn't belong to me. And so part of the Food in the Alley initiative is to reinvent that language and reintroduce a language of sharing the bounties of my garden. So it's really about appreciating every inch of land